There's something many men won't admit, especially those who are over 50. It's not just about feeling bitter or afraid of commitment again, it's about calculated survival. After years of working hard, establishing careers, raising families and building a life, they've learned something important. Love is not worth the risk if it costs you everything you've worked for.
Let's face it, the world has always pushed the idea that men are the providers, the ones who protect and take care of everything. But as men get older, especially over 50, they start seeing the world differently. They've been through the trials of life, the marriages, the heartaches, the setbacks. And now, as they look back, they realize that marriage, love, and relationships have a cost, one that's far higher than anyone talks about.
The idea of remarriage is often presented as a second chance at love, but for men over 50, that's not the reality. The truth is, many men, after experiencing a divorce, don't feel the urge to jump into a second marriage. They're not just scared or cynical, they're aware. They've done the math, and the numbers don't add up. For most men, the first marriage was an investment. They gave their time, energy, and financial resources, thinking that they were building a future with someone they loved. But in many cases, that investment didn't pay off. They lost half of everything they had worked for, and the emotional toll was often even worse. Divorce isn't just about losing assets, it's about losing trust, respect, and a piece of your identity. I remember talking to Robert, a man in his mid-50s who had been married for 25 years. He told me, "I worked hard for everything I had, but when the divorce came, it felt like I lost everything. My house, my savings, my family. And the worst part, I had nothing to show for it. No one told me that marriage was an investment that could bankrupt me emotionally and financially." Robert's story is not unique. It's the story of many men who have been through the trauma of divorce. And that's where the problem starts. Men who've been burned by divorce are less willing to risk it again. It's not about fear or bitterness. It's about self-preservation. The math doesn't lie. The cost of getting married again is high. Men who have been through a divorce are much less likely to take the leap again, knowing what's at stake. Now, let's talk numbers for a second. Divorce in the US costs an average of $15,000 in legal fees, and for contested divorces, that number can easily climb to $200,000 to $300,000 or more. That's just the beginning. Men don't just lose money, they lose years of their life. The emotional scars last longer than the financial ones, and once those scars are there, it's hard to ignore them. When you've been through a divorce, you can't just shrug it off. It's not like a business deal that you can chalk up as a loss and move on from. It's a personal failure. And that failure, whether you like it or not, makes you cautious. Here's where it gets even more brutal. The statistics on remarriage are staggering. First marriages, 40 to 50% end in divorce. Second marriages, 60 to 67% fail. Third marriages, 70 to 73% fail. The odds are worse the more you try. And when you're over 50, those odds aren't something you can afford to ignore. The older you get, the less time you have to recover from a failed marriage. If you're 30 and lose half of your assets, you have time to bounce back. But if you're 50 or 60, losing half means losing your retirement, and there's no time to start over. Think about it. Every decision you've made, every promotion you've worked for, every hour you've spent building your career, every penny you've saved for retirement, it all comes into play when you're faced with the reality of remarriage. And when men see the odds stacked against them, they do the math. The risk is too high, the cost is too steep. And it's not just about the money, it's the emotional toll. Money can be rebuilt, investments can grow, your savings can be restored. But trust? That's something that doesn't heal so easily. After a divorce, many men are left emotionally scarred. They've been betrayed, lied to, taken advantage of. They trusted someone with their future, and it fell apart. And the thought of doing that again, it's enough to make them take a step back and reevaluate. One man said, "I was faithful for years. Both of my ex-wives cheated on me. Never again." Another man said, "My ex-wife broke me emotionally, not financially.
I won't let someone else rip my heart out again. And these aren't just words, they're feelings. Feelings that most men carry with them long after the divorce papers are signed. And those feelings make remarriage feel like a dangerous game, one that they're no longer willing to play.
So, what do these men do? They make a choice. They choose peace over paperwork. They choose freedom over risk. They choose sanity over legal exposure.
"I'd rather be alone than lose half of everything again," said one man.
"Peace is priceless," said another. "I have time, money, and life on my terms," said a third. And here's the thing. Many of these men still date. They still have companionship, intimacy, and connection. But they don't sign the papers. They don't enter into another marriage contract. They get the love and companionship without the legal entanglements. They get the intimacy without risking everything they've worked so hard to build. Studies have shown that men who stay single after a divorce often report higher life satisfaction than those who remarry. Why? Because they have control. They have control over their time, their finances, their living space, and their decisions. They are not gambling on someone else's choices anymore. They have already secured what matters. Let's break it down. If you're over 50 and thinking about remarriage, ask yourself, do I want to risk everything I've built? Do I want to go through the emotional turmoil again? Am I willing to sacrifice my peace for the uncertainty of marriage? The odds are against you. The financial risks are too high, and the emotional scars, they may never fully heal. So what's the answer? Choosing peace, choosing independence, choosing control over chaos. And that's why men over 60 are making this decision. They're not afraid of being alone. They're afraid of losing everything again. They're afraid of giving up their peace, their freedom, their autonomy for a relationship that could be just another gamble. In the end, it's not about being alone. It's about protecting what you've worked for, what you've built, and what you deserve. Peace of mind is priceless, and once you realize that, you'll never go back. If this resonates with you, comment "peace" below and share with someone who needs to hear this. Because once you understand the value of your own time, energy, and peace, you'll never look at relationships the same way again.